This is the kind of injustice that will leave you speechless. Imagine working your heart out, showing up every day, only to be tossed aside. Not because of your work, not because of your attitude, but because of something you can't control. That's exactly what happened when one power-hungry boss thought he could get away with blatant discrimination. He fired a hard-working employee just because of his skin color. But here's where the story takes a turn. One so shocking, so unbelievable, it'll make you rethink everything you know about power, success, and karma. What happens when the man he fired turns out to be the real owner of the company? How does this boss react when he realizes he just made the biggest mistake of his life? And what lessons can you take from this jaw-dropping story? Stay tuned, because this is more than just a story. It's a wake-up call. By the end of this video, you'll learn how true power isn't about status. It's about integrity, respect, and something no one can take away from you. This is one you don't want to miss. Meet James, a hard-working, dedicated employee who gave everything to his job. He showed up early, stayed late, and made sure the company thrived. He was the kind of employee bosses should be fighting to keep. But his boss, let's call him Mr. Carter. And let's be honest, Carter didn't care about talent. He didn't care about loyalty. All he cared about was his own twisted sense of power. And when he saw James, a black man in a position of influence, it bothered him. It made him uncomfortable. So instead of rewarding James for his hard work, he did the unthinkable. He fired him. No warning, no reason, just blatant discrimination. And he thought he could get away with it. He thought he held all the power. But what happened next? He never saw it coming. Because James, he wasn't just another employee. He wasn't just another worker. James owned the company. That's right. The boss had just fired his boss. And the moment Carter realized the truth, it was priceless. The smugness, gone. The arrogance, crushed. Suddenly, the man who thought he controlled everything was at the mercy of the very person he had disrespected. What happens next will shock you. James had a decision to make. Should he fire Carter on the spot? Should he teach him a lesson? Or should he show him a level of grace that Carter never gave? Stick around, because this story is about to take an even bigger turn. As the weight of the situation crashed down on Carter, his face drained of color. The confidence, gone. The arrogance, vanished. He had spent years looking down on employees, treating them as beneath him, never once considering that one day he might need them. And now, the man he fired owned the entire company. Panic set in. He scrambled to justify himself, stuttering out weak excuses. It was just a misunderstanding. I didn't mean it like that. We can work this out, right? But James, he wasn't fooled. He had seen this before. The fake apologies, the crocodile tears, the desperate attempts to save face. But here's the real question. What would you do in this moment? James had all the power now. He could have destroyed Carter's career on the spot. He could have humiliated him, fired him publicly, made him feel the same pain. But James was playing a bigger game. Instead of stooping to Carter's level, he did something that no one expected. And this is where the real lesson comes in. Would he show mercy? Would he teach Carter a lesson he'd never forget? Or would he use his power to send a message that would change the company forever? What happened next? Let's just say, Carter was never the same again. Stick around, because this is where the real impact happens. As Carter stood there, trembling, he knew his fate was no longer in his hands. He had spent years abusing his authority, treating employees like they were disposable. But now, he was the disposable one. James could have fired him on the spot. He could have humiliated him in front of the entire company. He could have done to Carter exactly what Carter had done to so many others. But instead, he did something Carter never expected. He let him stay, but with a condition that would change everything. James didn't just want revenge, he wanted justice. He wanted to make sure this never happened again. So he demoted Carter. He took away his fancy title, his corner office, his sense of superiority. And now, Carter would have to work under the very people he once looked down on. Imagine that, going from boss to employee overnight. And the best part, James didn't do it out of spite. He did it to teach Carter a lesson. Power isn't about titles. It's about character. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you earn. And the way you treat people when you think they have nothing will come back to haunt you. At the end of the day, this isn't just a story about one racist boss getting what he deserved. It's a wake-up call. It's a lesson in karma, respect, and real power. Because the truth is, positions change, tables turn, and no one stays on top forever. So ask yourself, how do you treat people when you think no one is watching? Are you using your power to lift others up or tear them down? Because one day, the person you look down on might be the one calling the shots. Let this story be a reminder: integrity will always outlast injustice. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in James's situation? Would you have fired Carter? Or do you think he got exactly what he deserved? Let's talk about it. And if you found this story powerful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message. Because the world needs to hear it. Until next time, remember, true power isn't about status, it's about how you treat people.